Major projects focused on wetland carbon assessment, ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction, and conservation of wetlands along the Central Asian Flyway. And I'd like to introduce Praveen. Praveen is my colleague. We both work at Bird Count India, and he has been birding since childhood. He has a strong interest in citizen science, and he enjoys working with birding groups across Asia. So I would invite Praveen to talk a bit about the objectives of today's webinar. And over to you, Praveen.
Thanks, Mittal. I'm audible, I hope.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is an interesting time period. So I hope some of you are aware that eBird has launched projects as a functionality in eBird. So it was deployed in United States and a few other countries, but there were no projects in Asia until now. Some of you may be aware of the iNaturalist project here. So Asian Waterbird Census AWC India is the first eBird project for Asia. So that's why this particular activity, which we are starting now, is so special. And this year is very special. 2026 is special because this is the 60th year of International Waterbird Census. So like 6 decades is over. AWC started in 1987 in India, but the IWC has been going on for a much longer period of time, right? So we will get into the lot more details of what AWC is with Dhruv speaking about it. So here the scope is for us, mostly eBirders, to figure out how to use this project for AWC. Previously, if you have participated in AWC in India, you would know that you were sharing a list with a common account. Now that has changed. That has become a lot more streamlined with this project mode, which is probably going to be the way forward for AWC and later probably other projects. So that would be the focus. You will be able to understand how to use the projects and how to submit list into AWC project. Some of the key do's and don'ts while contributing towards AWC in the project mode, otherwise also in AWC. And we will also be talking about whom to reach out for support, like what will be your first line of support and what would be your next line of support. So this would be broadly what we'll be covering. Dhruv will be covering the AWC in itself, what it is about. And Mittal will be telling you how to use the app and the website to contribute towards this project. And what is outside the scope of the session? So here we will not be talking about how to use eBird. So those are all there in the website. We'll have links to video, etc. We will also not be talking about how to do counting or anything of that sort. So the technical part of how the wetland count is being done is not a part of the session. This session is more about introducing this new feature through which you can contribute AWC, typically for people who've been already doing it and also for the new people. The 2026 AWC count is extremely important because this is also the time period when Central Asian Flyway is upgrading its population estimates for our waterbirds. So that activity is also happening the next year. So whatever counts we are actually getting across the wetlands, they are extremely good. That actually substantially contributes towards providing the population estimates for waterbirds of Central Asian Flyway. Some of you would know that those estimates have not been updated for 2, 3, 4 decades. This is after a long period of time this is happening. So if this through this AWC, we will be able to contribute the data across the country so that some robust estimates of population over waterbirds also comes. So that broadly explains what is going to happen in the next 40, 50 minutes, and we'll have some time for Q&A. Please feel to post your questions in the Q&A and we'll take the questions. But even if we are not able to answer all the questions, we are always there in several WhatsApp groups where you can get answers. So with that, I think I will again hand it back to Mittal, maybe directly to Dhruv, to take us through what is AWC and in a nutshell.
Thanks, Praveen. And over to you, Dhruv. I can stop my screen so you can share your.
Give me a second. I'll just share my screen.
Sure, no worries.
Is it there? And audio is also working, right?
Yes, we can see and we
Okay.
can hear you.
Great, great. Welcome to all of you, and very good evening. I think you will be on your way back home or perhaps still working. And thank you for joining this webinar. And I think the objective and what we will be discussing in this particular webinar has been informed by Praveen. So I will be talking about what Asian Waterbird Census is all about. I think it will be around 8 to 10 minutes. So as you know that we have an initiative called International Waterbird Census. It's a citizen science program that aims to assess the waterbird counts and also the condition of the wetlands. It is one of the longest running internationally coordinated citizen science program that focuses on biodiversity. And across the globe, I think we have around 9 major flyways, and the International Waterbird Census, through regional chapters, it covers all these flyways, something like Central Asian Flyway, East Asian Australasian Flyway, and so on. Now, this census was first organized in 1967, which is like almost 60 years back. And as of now, I think it covers nearly 100 countries across the globe, and also sites around 25,000 wetlands are being covered or reported under this program. If you see the picture on the right hand side, it's basically a snapshot or the screenshot of the brochure for the 60th anniversary of International Waterbird Census, where there are some reflections, how it has evolved, what is the genesis, what are the key outcomes, and also how we look forward, engaging with all the citizen science and concerned stakeholders. Now, as I said, there are some regional chapters. Asian Waterbird Census is one of those chapters. After 20 years of the international one, the AWC started in the region. If you look at the map, it covers basically 2 major flyways, which is Central Asian and also the East Asian Australasian Flyway, which is more towards the eastern side of this particular map. It covers around 25 countries. This number is slightly may have improved over years. Talking about India, as you know, we have a huge geographical area. We also have, we are blessed with, a diverse range of wetlands. Therefore, India contributes, one of the highest number of counts in the region. And to be very frank, I think AWC, we sort of joined hands with Bird Count India, and we also, sort of started working with eBird. And I think from 2013, 14 or something like that, we also started getting data from eBird. And I think from that particular year, a lot of coverage has improved, but also there are some nuances to it. I think we'll come to those things in the coming slides. Now in India, this initiative AWC is nationally coordinated by the Wetlands International South Asia, Bombay Natural History Society, and also Bird Count India. Now talking about the objectives of AWC, obviously it has to align with the international initiative also. So number one is it monitors the waterbird populations. Since it's our country and also the region is in Northern Hemisphere, we usually do it in the midwinter during the non-breeding period of most of the waterbirds. Second is about also monitoring the status or the condition of the wetlands where these waterbirds are visiting, to understand what kind of condition is there, and also at times if those sites are important, as in hosting a lot of species, or the abundance is pretty good, then also we need to think about the management. So all these, so the waterbird, the AWC data helps also in management planning and interventions as well. Now, the third objective is to engage with different stakeholders. Although by design, it's a citizen science program, but yes, at times, many of our wetlands are protected, have a limited access or access which is regulated. So therefore, we also strive to engage with government counterparts and entities. Now, talking about the key elements of AWC, there are 4 listed here. Number one, unlike other citizen science program, we have a framework of coordination here. So in a way, we have also received, sort of feedback, or let's say, inputs that, since it's a coordinated effort, at times, there are limitations also to it. So in India, we have national coordinators, and then at state level, we have state coordinators. And then perhaps at site level or district level, there are some coordinators or lead. So through this coordinated network of birders and volunteers, the AWC is being implemented in India. As I said, it's a midwinter count, usually one time per year. But the plans are that for important sites, something like Ramsar sites, or let's say, important bird and biodiversity areas, and other sites maybe which are not, which do not have, let's say, these international designations, but perhaps important from the local perspective. So those sites are considered as priority sites, and we are in discussion with the state coordinators and also with other stakeholders to plan for multi-season count. So at the moment, we only do it one time, but the plan is to do it twice or thrice a year. Now, the third point is about standardized count units. A very important aspect of AWC is that, yes, it's about observing birds at the wetlands, but since it's a monitoring program, it's very important then that we do it in a standardized manner, which basically means that we cover the site, we define the wetland extent in a very uniform manner, and we cover it over years in the same fashion. And obviously, the endeavor is to cover and report the total bird count, so that over years we can say that because of, let's say, changing wetland condition or whatever, the trend at this particular site is changing. Because otherwise, what happens, because of varying, let's say, coverage or varying geographical scope of the count unit, at times counts also vary, and then we cannot compare, let's say, the count of year 2020 with 2025 and so on. So that's why the extent of wetland surveyed should be very consistent. And as I said, we also report the condition of the site. I think we'll be talking about how we do this wetland condition assessment after Mithil's input or the walkthrough of the project on eBird. Now in India, there is a good coverage of AWC sites in India, but yes, also there are some gaps, some geographical gaps are there. And I think eBird has really helped us a lot in filling or plugging this gap. Now, talking about some major highlights from India. Yearly, I think we receive around data from 1,500 or 1,200 to 1,600 sites in India. And this data is coming from around 29 sites, which obviously vary, year to year. We also have state coordinators, AWC state coordinators, who have volunteered to coordinate the census in their respective states. For example, we have two coordinators in Gujarat. I think maybe Dhaval also, who is a very avid birder. Similarly, we have in Goa, in Kerala, and many other states, we have state coordinators. Some of them, they use eBird. Some of them, they are still not using eBird, but they still do or contribute to AWC through perhaps other means. Now we have volunteers. Every year it varies, but usually most of the chunk of these volunteers are the bird enthusiasts, representing different NGOs, universities, and other institutions. But now over the year, we are trying to get also institutionalize the AWC in the ongoing schemes or programs of government, something like the Pong Dam winter bird count and others. So institutionalizing AWC is also one of the endeavors we are trying. We have achieved something. We have partnered with NBA. We are also trying, for example, in Bihar, our partner BNHS is doing a fantastic job. They have collaborated with the Forest Department, and they're doing, I think, count at around 100 odd wetlands and producing the annual reports. So how these outputs look like? We prepare annual reports, which are rather summary reports. not very lengthy. It just collates how many sites are being covered, what kind of species numbers we have, and also some insights on the sites. For example, what kind of threats are being reported more frequently, what kind of habitat types were covered. So all these things are there in the AWC report, which basically comes from the data all of you collect and report to us. So I think a big thanks goes to all of you. Now, I think this is the last slide for the moment, which is about the application of AWC. I think Praveen very rightly, flagged this in the opening remarks, that the work you are doing, it's really, really important. It's contributing in many ways that even some of us, we are not aware. So this particular slide shows that how from site level to international level, how this data is being used for conservation policies, programming, and even at times investment from diverse sort of stakeholders, including, I think, private sector. So, for example, Wetlands International South Asia prepares site level management plans, wetland management plans following the NPCA guidelines, which is on the right hand side. And if you look at these guidelines, they also acknowledge that AWC is, or citizen science is, an important part of the wetlands management programming in India, and therefore we should look to improve it. Similarly, at national level, we have plans for wetlands, which is called NPCA. At the same time, we have, although the national plan for CAF is, I think it was till 2023, but I think the new plan will be there very soon. And at the international level, it helps the AWC data, which goes to the International Waterbird Census portal and all. It helps in identifying Ramsar sites, and also, the new CAF initiative, which is coming. So there, a lot of data will be used to establish the current estimates of populations in CAF. So all these things, just wanted to share, what AWC is and how your contributions are important for all of us. So I think that's all for the moment. I hand it over back to Mithil. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dhruv. And I, for one, am very excited to have this AWC and eBird together. It makes a lot of things easier. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through on how you can be part of this project. So just bear with me till I get my phone sharing done. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, please add it in the Q&A.
Yeah, so the Q&A is a button next to the share button. So feel free to type your question there, because the way the webinar is set up, you may not be able to speak it up. I think Christina had a question, raised a hand. Probably can you type it there? It will be great. I think somebody from Bihar also asked a question. If you can actually write the question in there, we can go through the Q&A and take some of these questions. Shakib, please type the question inside the Q&A. We will take it up towards the end of the meeting. So Mithal would be actually sharing the eBird app on the screen, and then she will show you how the AWC project will appear and how you can actually select it and start contributing your list to that.
One sec, Praveen. I'm I can see the screen. Let me know if you can see my screen.
We were almost seeing the screen, but now we are seeing blank.
Okay.
I think now we can see your screen. Yes.
Yeah, so I think my incognito mode is not it's not showing up. So I will try a different way. Okay. So the very first thing you have to do is join the AWC project. And to do that, you have to visit this website. We will share the link with you, but it's also available on the Bird Count India AWC page. So it's ebird.org projects /105051, sorry. So this is the project page, and the very first page, there is some summary given, And then there is a green tab where you see learn how to join. But before that, I would recommend to please sign into your eBird account at this point, so that the next step is easier for you. And those who do not have an eBird account, there are plenty of videos on which shows how to create an account and how to get signed in with eBird. So once you have clicked on learn to join, it will take you to the next page. And the next page has much more details. In fact, a lot of details, a lot of questions or doubts that you may have. Most of it will be covered on this page. So go right to the end till you find login to join your project. So, okay, let me see if I can. Yes. So now I have signed into my eBird account. I go again. Okay, there is some bug here. Just a minute. Let me just open my eBird. Yeah, so I think what I realized is that you need to be logged into your eBird account. And then you open the projects page. So in that way, it's easier. Let's try one more time. If it doesn't work, I'll show it on the laptop. I'll share my screen on my computer and show. Where does it go? So once you click on it, and you will get a message saying that you have joined the project. Once you get the message, all you have to do is you have to open your eBird app. And this is how the eBird app will look like. And you can see there is already a button called choose projects, right? So when you are ready, when you are at a wetland and we are going to start birding, you have to first click on choose projects, and you will see that Asian Waterbird Census. Select the box and then click on start checklist. And once you click on start checklist, the app does everything for you. The app will automatically take the date, time, whether you were staying at one point and watching birds, or whether you were traveling, walking around. So the app does everything for you. So then you can just concentrate on the birds that you're seeing. Again, if those who are used to making lists on eBird, it's very similar to that. All you have to do is watch birds, and whatever numbers that you see, you have to add it in the app. I'm just going to show you one or two examples, and then we will move ahead. But there are a lot of tutorial videos on how to use the eBird app to make a checklist. So those resources we can share with you. So let's, for example, say we have watched 12 pond heron. I can directly type the count, and the moment I type a few letters of the species name, the app will show me the suggestion, and all I have to do is tap the name of the bird. And for the AWC eBird project, you have to list all species that you see, not just water birds, not just wetland birds, but all the birds that are around, whether they are in the wetland, or whether they are on the shore, or whether the birds that are flying or on the trees, basically all, even the pigeons and mynas and crows that you see, you have to add it to your checklist. So similarly, we will continue adding birds. If I see 4 spot-billed duck, I just have to type the count and the name of the bird, and the app will show me. Suppose at some point while traveling, I see more pond herons or more spot-billed ducks. All I have to do is just again type the number of ducks that I saw, spot-billed ducks, and click on it. So it gets added to the previous count. So this is how you go by whatever birds you see. Once you are done birding, you click on stop. Now there are few things that you need to do, some additional steps, and we will look at it what those additional steps are. So here, if you go down, there is something called details. These are two additional steps that you need to fill in. One is the tidal stage. Now tidal stage is only needed if you are birding at a estuary, if you're birding at a beach or mangrove. So where you can see the tide coming in, going, those wetlands where the tides are there, you can select. It's not mandatory, but if you are at a place where tidal tides are seen, you have to select this. The second mandatory thing is the surveyed area. How much part of your wetland were you able to survey? If the wetland is quite big, and if you're only able to survey 20% of it, 25% of it, you have to select that. And once you have done this, you click on done. Add comments can be anything. It can be as generic as how the weather was, if you saw some interesting behavior, or something like you used a scope to count the birds. It can be anything that you want. You can just click on it and type your comment. This is your eBird checklist comment. And here it says if you are more than one person birding, you have to increase the number of observers. And are you submitting a complete checklist of birds? Now, what does this mean? So it means that you have included all the birds, including the crows, pigeons, mynas, not just the wetland birds. So in a case like this, you will select yes. For some reason, you have just focused on wetland birds, which we will not recommend. But if you do that, then you have to select no. So let's assume that we have looked at all birds and we click on yes and go ahead. Now, this is an important part for submitting AWC checklist on eBird, which is choosing location, and the location has to be a eBird hotspot. And because I'm in the middle of the Bangalore city, you may not, I don't have any wetland near me, but if I was at a wetland close to my house, I would have seen a hotspot like this, which is pin with a flame sign in it. A green pin with a flame sign in it indicates there's a hotspot. Please select a hotspot always for your wetland AWC checklist. If there is no hotspot, again, on our website, there are recommendations on what to do if your wetland is not a hotspot. So assume this is a hotspot. You select the hotspot. And then you click on submit. I'm not submitting this list because this is the dummy list, but all you have to do is submit. Another thing to remember is for choosing location and for submitting this checklist, you will need internet access. In case if you are in a place where there is no internet access, you can forget about choosing the place. You can just close the list by, on the top left side, there is a cross mark. Just close the list and your list will get saved in the checklist at the bottom. Just after submit, there is a icon called checklist and it will be saved here. Whenever you're back home, whenever you have internet connection, you can open that list and submit it. There are few other things which you have to keep in mind. For example, those who are familiar with eBird events, we always insist that you make 15-minute checklist. But in this case, we suggest you to make longer checklist. It's just a very, it's too much of a trouble to keep counting birds
so
again and again.
Mittal, let me clarify here.
Sure.
AWC mandates a full checklist for a wetland. So it's whatever time it takes for a wetland, that particular counting unit, take that time, count as many birds as possible and close it. Please don't submit multiple checklists for the same day in the same wetland, please make a single checklist. So that is something which is required here because we are trying to count the birds. We do not want 15-minute checklist. We do not want small checklist, but whatever is required for that wetland, spend that amount of time and make a full count of that particular checklist. Please make a complete checklist. Please select a hotspot. If we most of the 90% of the wetlands, we will have hotspots already in eBird. But if you think the hotspot is not there, then there are ways in which you can suggest a location as a hotspot. In that situation, you'll have to select a personal location. But after submitting the list, you have to suggest the hotspot and that will get approved so that we can actually use those checklists in the AWC project. We map the locations using these hotspots. It's very hard if the personal locations are very hard to map to a wetland. So that's the reason why we actually really mandate hotspot usage. And it's very, very important. Please make a checklist with the duration which is required for the wetland to count outputs. Continue with it.
Thanks, Praveen. So once your checklist is submitted, there is one final thing that is very, very important, that is filling the wetland assessment form. And for this, I'm going to ask Dhruv to share his screen so he can tell what kind of form needs to be filled. Dhruv, over to you.
Right. My screen is there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mithil, for walking us through the project and how we submit the data. Now, this slide, so what we are trying to present here is that for usual AWC people, at times they are not using eBird. So they have also alternatives to submit the data, which is, using Excel forms, Word forms, and so on. But I think we are not going into it. The website, the orange colored text or the link you are seeing on your screen is the web page for AWC. And this page will take you to the website of Wetlands International, and there you can see the Asian Waterbird Census webpage. But I think, and I'm sure that Bird Count India also hosts all these important information. So please check those web pages when you are going for AWC. Now, after doing the bird count, on eBird, the important aspect is that we record, our observations related to the site. Now, in the conventional method of AWC, we have three sort of forms. Number one is site form, which usually stays, standard. It doesn't change over years. Something like site name, name of the state, which district it is situated in, what kind of protection status it has, whether it's a national park or a community reserve, a Ramsar site, and so on, coordinates, and also a bit on the site characteristics, something like what kind of wetland type is it. Now, if you see, I'm not sure if you are able to see this particular image on the right-hand side. In the middle, there is a section called wetland type. And you will see there are different sort of names written here. Maybe at times they are difficult to understand, but I think most of you will be able to identify your wetland type where you are doing the census, and whether it's a river, it's a stream, it's a freshwater lake, or it's a mangrove, and so on, right? And for some other parameters, something like wetland area, the elevation of the site, and so on. So usually these things, they do not change frequently. So this is one part of the information that you will be putting or feeding into the Google form of which is called the Asian Waterbird Census wetland assessment form. The picture on the left hand side, there's also the link I have copied here, but I think we'll be sharing you all of these things. So if you open this Google form, information will come in the similar fashion, or like the similar sequence, starting from the name of the site, state, name of the parent site, protection status, and so on, right? This is one part of the story. The second part of the data collection is about the visit and assessment form. This is something which is dynamic, which is important, and it changes even if, let's say, you go twice, thrice, or even multiple times to a site, these things will change. So that's why it is important that we record all these things. So this form is called as a visit and assessment form, where we record the date and time. This will, I think, be captured by your checklist on eBird. Then it talks about what kind of method is being used by the team which is on the field, whether it's a boat survey, whether we used telescope or binoculars from a vantage point, or it involved aerial surveys and so on. So whatever we used or the team on the field used, so we have to tick it here. On Google Form, there will be a checklist. You just click whichever is relevant, and your inputs will be saved in the database. Similarly, visit coverage. Now this particular aspect is being covered by the project. So how much spatial coverage of the wetland is being covered during the census, whether it is full, half, somewhere in between. Now you will be doing it through the app or through the project. So this is not needed right now. In the Google form, you still there is a chance that you might find it, but it will not be required, so you can skip it. Similarly, there is a section called disturbance to birds. What disturbance we observe? So there, whether there was a lot of disturbance or less disturbance, we can record that. And then there are a couple of things related to the visit conditions, something like what was the water level. The tidal again is being there in the project app, so we can ignore the tidal condition. Vegetation type, the cover of vegetation. And then the very important aspect is the use and threats to the wetland, right? Whether the wetland during the census, during the time you are doing the birding there, whether you observe fishing there, any sort of cattle grazing during that time of the census, and what are also the likely threats to the wetland, which maybe you observed during the census, or perhaps based on your understanding of or your know-how of the site, you can select all these which are relevant, something like pollution by domestic sewage, pollution from agricultural fields, which could be pesticides, fertilizers, and so on. There could be mining happening around. So whatever is happening, you can tick or select in the Google form. Then there are some development plans to the site, something like where some developmental activities are going and you are aware about it, you can report it there. Then we are at the moment doing some sort of restructuring. So this disturbance to the bird count, which is on the left-hand side, will come somewhere around the likely threats to the water birds. So first, I think you will report what kind of threats you observed, something like hunting, trapping of birds, which I think happens in some parts of our country, disturbance by domestic, feral, or free-ranging dogs, depending on where you are, and also some other threats, which I think we cannot list every threat here. So whatever threats you observe during the census, you can report it here. And then the level of the severity of it, whether it is or the effect was no, little, moderate, or strong effect of these disturbances were observed. Now the very important thing is the map. Map, it says that outline map of the wetland count unit. So this is, I think, one aspect we are still sort of dealing with our colleagues from Bird Count India and others, because from eBird we usually get a point location or maybe the route that you have taken, but eventually, as I sort of presented earlier, it is important to us for us to know that which polygon, or let's say which area is being surveyed, because at times for bigger wetlands, maybe you are not covering the whole wetland. That was not your objective. So where that survey area ends is important to us. So, and that's why we usually ask for the map. People who have been doing AWC through these Word forms, Excel forms, or other methods, for majority of these sites, we have these maps. But yes, in the past couple of years, when a lot of eBird data, a lot of data which is coming from other observations or like not proper counts, in some cases we are lacking these maps. So I request you all to look at these. There will be a link on our website where you can see the extent of the site which is being reported to us. Whether it is the same, you can comply with it, or you want to cover more areas. So based on that, we can update these maps as per the data we receive. And then additional comments, I think you would have feeded or added your comments over in the project section of comments also. But in case something is left, you can also leave comments in the Google form. And then very important thing is participants' name, addresses, and so on. Again, you might have added all your your friends or teammates in the project app, which is great. In case you miss it, please edit here, because when we produce, let's say, the annual reports or maybe long-term reports, it is also upon us, like it's a responsibility of us that we acknowledge all of you. At times, if the names are not there, we miss a lot of names. So that's why having names here really helps a lot. So I think this is the last slide. Thank you so much. And I think, yeah, last sort of announcement, I think maybe we are doing it again. So for 2026, the recommended dates are 3rd to 18th of January. These are the recommended dates. These dates remain standard. Even if you do it, let's say in 2040, the dates as in it starts on the first Saturday of January and ends on the 3rd Sunday of January. These are the recommended dates, but it's not a stringent or very strict recommendation. We accept data or counts from 1st of December to 28th or 27th of February. So depending on, let's say, the context, depending on when waterbirds are there in your state or in your region, I think you guys can take a call based on your understanding of the site. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Dhruv.
much, Dhruv.
Shall we take some questions, Mittal?
Yeah, why don't you take some questions? I'll just share the screen to show the QR code where they can get information.
Sure. There are a couple of important questions. One question is, how do we cover a very large wetland? So nothing changes from previously. So large wetlands, what used to happen is that it is divided into multiple counting units. So there will be a hotspot for every counting unit. And each team will be going to that particular counting units and counting, and the entire list, suppose there are 8 counting units, all the 8 lists are combined to make a single count for a wetland. This is how it was happening previously, and that continues to be the case. But here also, every counting unit is a hotspot, and for every hotspot, there is one single long checklist which is required to cover that counting unit. So that's the way it will be done. So don't worry that your wetland is huge and I'll have to spend, only one team has to spend. You can actually divide it. That the way it is divided typically is to make sure that double counts are avoided, because the wetland is large and typically the birds don't move between the counting units that much. So it is okay to count the birds across. So those details of counting and counting units, etc., are there in the bird count data website. But that, I think, briefly answers the question on what happens for a large wetland. How do we split between them? And this is also the same thing where typically you do one AWC for a site. You don't do multiple. I mean, it's good to always collect data as much as required, but typically you decide one particular day as your AWC, and then you do that particular day a full count. So there are questions on what happens if I do go to the same wetland again and again. That's what you're expected to do. You can do it, but for AWC, you submit one particular count where you have actually planned well and covered that entire wetland to the best of your abilities. There are questions on whom to contact, who is the coordinator, etc. It's going to be updated in the Bird Code India page. So how this is going to work is that this is a new mechanism, right? eBird project. So there will be a lot of questions on eBird itself. There will be questions on app. There will be questions on eBird project. So typically this particular project of eBird, the AWC project of eBird will have specific contact points whom sometimes will be the same as state coordinators. Sometimes they may not be the state coordinators, but they are probably the best people to explain how to use eBird to the best of the best use for AWC. So there will be a set of people whose contacts will be published in Bird Code India website. They are the ones to contact if you face trouble in using eBird project, or trouble in using eBird, and trouble in figuring out this entire process. The link to the Google form has been asked, and that will be there in the Bird website. That website will have the link always there. You can actually go there and submit the Google form. Please understand, this is the more or less the same Google form which we have used for past 5 years. Somebody commented that it is a very complex process. Yes, it is a complex process. It's a wetland assessment. So we are trying to get as much information about the wetland through this particular Google form. But you would see that the eBird project is already in a direction where we can move some of these parameters into eBird. So at some point of time, you will have site-specific parameters which will go into the Google form, which will be updated infrequently whenever site parameters changes. And there will be visit-related parameters which will get into the eBird app. You already saw 2 visit-related parameters in the app now. You saw the coverage area, you saw the tidal level. These 2 are visit-related parameters which are moved from the Google form. Even this is the first AWC project across the world. So next year, there is a plan for eBird and International Wetland Census to discuss together and identify which are those visit-related parameters which can be incorporated in the eBird app, and then we will start seeing all those parameters in the apps. So that process will happen sometime next year. This is the pilot. We are trying to figure out what challenges we will face so that that discussion will get inputs from all of us, and that will become the source through which the new parameters will get added into the app, and the Google form will just become site parameters, which will be updated not as frequently as the AWC itself, because site parameters change frequently. So that's a bigger plan with respect to how the form and eBird, everything will together coexist. Yeah, Mittal, are there any other questions which you want to take? Dhruv, there is a question. Are these reports available online? Do you want to just post the link
Yes.
in the chat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Most of these reports are there on the website. The ones which are produced recently, I think from past 4-5 years, are there on the website. We'll share the link on the chat box. And also the previous reports, I think from 19 late 80s or 90s also, some of these reports are also available online. But at the moment we are restructuring our website, but we'll share all those links with all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's another question for you. How do you coordinate other countries, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, for example?
Right. So we have national coordinators in Nepal. I think his name is Hem Singh Baral. We have also coordinated in Bangladesh and so on. Usually we do not, uh, 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 you know, communicate or let's say coordinate very frequently with the other countries. But yes, once or twice a year, we have regional level meeting, online meetings, like 1 or 2 hours, where we share the updates, how things are moving, what kind of challenges we are facing, and yes, if they are, let's say, there is a need for transboundary cooperation or transboundary efforts for AWC. If we identify it, yes, I think we can take it up there.
Thanks, Dhruv. There is a question on where can we find the state coordinator list. So there is a regional coordinators for eBird AWC project, who are the people who are going to help with this particular arrangement. But who are the state coordinators? Is there, if you can post that link in the chat, that will be great. Or if it's getting updated, you can mention that.
Okay, it is there on the website right now. It's a PDF people can access. Yeah, I'll share the link.
Great. Should we fill up to submit the Google form every day after every survey? I have a doubt about this. Yeah, so you actually submit the Google form after submitting the eBird checklist. So you complete the wetland, you submit the eBird checklist, and maybe after coming back from home, you submit the Google form for that particular wetland. So Google form and the eBird checklist go hand in hand. Every eBird checklist should have a Google form submission and vice versa. Okay. So checklist from any wetland outside the time frame should not be tagged with the project. Correct. So December, January, February are the time frame where you should be selecting AWC. Outside that, please do not select it. Preferably try to do it during the window, small window, which is the January 2 weeks, which Dhruv has actually shown the dates. Highly preferable you do it there. So we get a consolidated count across the country for a very small period. But if not possible, then December to February is a larger window. Okay. Um, if more than 5 10 participants load data on eBird for same location, how AWC counts the number of birds to prevent duplication. So I think we covered it briefly, but you know eBird. So if you're all 5 6 people are the same team, you have a shared checklist. So you submit the checklist from your account. It doesn't matter whether all of you submit the checklist because we are all tied to the same shared checklist. We will be able to figure out that it's all tied to the same checklist. However, if there are multiple people by chance submit AWC counts from the same locality, same location, without knowing that other person has done it, then the state coordinator will step in to figure out which one to use. It has happened very rarely sometimes, and that's a time when state coordinator takes a call on which particular day's checklist should be used. Mittal, you want to tell something? We are also, there are a few more questions here.
I have answered a few. So Sujan is asking who's the AWC coordinator for West Bengal, that is AWC state coordinator. And I think Dhruv has mentioned, but Dhruv, would you mind?
Yeah. For West Bengal, the name is Rudra Prasad Das. I think he's working with the university there, and he used to work with the biodiversity board. I think all the details will be there on the link that I just posted in the chat box.
Yeah, I think that has got the complete list here. So I am basically considering all those questions answered here. Mittal, you want to show something?
Yeah, I will just show once again the page on the process because I think people are trying to find the join project page on the app. So let me just quickly show.
Yep.
So you have to first, to show the project on your app, you have to first visit the website ebird.org/projects/1051. You have to visit there. There you have to join the project. Once you have joined the project, you'll get a message that you have joined the project. Once that happens, on your app, once you refresh it, it will automatically show. And if that doesn't happen, let us know.
So there is another process which is happening in parallel. I don't know when it will happen. All the people who have previously participated in AWC by sharing the checklist with the AWC India group ID, we have given those user IDs to eBird Central and requested them to add them by default. So maybe tomorrow, day after, all the people who had previously participated will automatically start seeing choose projects with AWC. So just wait. It's not going to happen today, I know, but maybe over the weekend it may happen. So if all else fails and you have participated previously, you may just see the project coming up automatically. Yeah, so the state coordinators list is also getting updated here. So the important list here for now, right? This particular list of coordinators, that's a list which Mittal is going to publish in BirdCon India page. There is a coordinator for every state there. They are the regional coordinators who will help you with the AWC eBird project. So they are the people whom you would need when you are running AWC this year with eBird project. So that's a complete list which will be there. No state will be left out. Every state union territory will be covered there. I think these are the questions in the chat, Mittal. Are there questions in the?
Yes, I think Praveen, there was, I don't know, a question or a comment in the chat box about do we have to contact the coordinator, I think, before going for census, something like that, I guess.
If you know the coordinator, you can inform because they will know that you're covering it. It's great. But that's not a hard and fast rule because wetlands, there are so many wetlands and eBirders are spread across the country. So if you know a wetland which is there next to you and you want to participate, either you publish in the local group saying that I'm planning, and then somebody else will join. So completely self-organize it, because that's the power which we have seen when you moved from the previous mode of going via coordinators and district coordinators, etc., to an eBird like application where everybody can participate in a general format. It's okay. You think this, if it's okay if two people cover the same wetland twice, it's much better than a wetland not being covered. So feel free to do it. If you know the state coordinators, contact and inform them. But otherwise, feel free to go ahead, make your own plans, connect with your friends around, and cover the wetlands as much as possible.
Right. But just to add, Praveen, I think, but perhaps for important wetlands, let's say, like Ramsar protected areas and so on,
Yeah.
I think would be good that you show, let's say, your intention or willingness to join.
Yeah.
Maybe there are instances where, the coordinator or the concerned person is not replying. Then obviously, like, the season is there. It's obviously, free for everybody. You can go and do birding. But dropping an email is something I would suggest all of you. And I think what Praveen is saying, that makes complete sense.
And previously, you were all sharing with AWC India ID. You no longer need to do it. So once you join the project, everything is taken care. No need to share with AWC India. But you have a state list or a district AWC compilation, that feel free to add. That's up to you. But AWC India doesn't need a share from you using this particular project.